Hey guys, welcome to the Ramsey Paul Show. It is Thursday, October 23rd. It's great to be here with you guys. As always, be sure to like and subscribe and share it with your friends. Like to grow the channel. Oh, on Fridays, I have my show exclusive to my Substack supporters. If you want to help support me that way, I would appreciate it. There's a link below. All right, let's just get into the news. The first story it's been gaining some traction and is frustrating because who cares? Literally and figuratively, Donald Trump destroyed the White House. Uh, no, he isn't. He's just renovating it. They're putting up a nice ballroom, and it's not costing the taxpayers any money. This is all private money. Obama did something similar. He renovated part of the White House. This happens. It's really no big deal. But this shows the example of the propaganda, showing the old wing being torn down. But are they going to show the beautiful new ballroom? I doubt that. So that's an example of the propaganda that we see nonstop from the media. It's pretty stupid. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she attacked the usual lobby. That's very powerful. Let's take a look at this, what she has to say with Tucker Carlson.
This isn't about Jewish people. This is about the government of Israel.
And it's interesting. So even if even if you say this isn't about the Jewish people, this is what Marjorie Taylor Greene has said. This is what Tucker has said, and a lot of people do. They go, "I have nothing against Jewish people, but there's no reason we should support Israel, their ethno state, before America. That's just ridiculous." But even if you say that, it doesn't matter. They will still call you're an unhinged Jew hater. That's the mantra they do. So you got to give in to all their demands. Otherwise, you're an unhinged Jew hater. No, it never goes in reverse, right? We never demand that the Jewish people should have to support Christian countries. Otherwise, you're an unhinged Christian hater. No, it's just one way it goes.
About their military, and this is about them nonstop demanding America pay attention to Israel, do what Israel wants, fight Israel's wars, and pay for them. And if you don't, then we're going to come after anyone and everyone that gets in the way of that.
Yeah, via APAC. So again, they have a lot of power, the Israeli community, over our politicians. My senator, Tom Cotton, I think there's less than 6,000 Jewish people in Arkansas, but he's totally dedicated to Israel over the state of Arkansas. I don't even know he knows where Arkansas is. If you watched his tweets, you would think he lives in Israel. That's all he cares about because that's who funds him. And so there's a lot of factors that go into this. One is funding through APAC. And they can say, oh, that's not foreign lobbying. Those are Americans. Yeah, bullshit, right? They're dual citizens. They're advocating on the behalf of Israel. And then they have other ways too. They have a lot of influence in the media. They can blackmail you. Again, they could call you a Jew hater, an anti-Semite. We don't want to give a platform to an anti-Semite. And even if you say, I don't hate Jewish people, I just don't want to have to pay for their homeland. Why should we treat Israel different than we treat any other nation like Iceland? Because Jesus said that we got to give everything to Israel. That's God's chosen people. And it's this weird cult that they get into. And otherwise, they destroy you as a politician or as anyone else, as you see here.
And if you're wondering why people are talking about primarying me, well, it's because I don't take any money from APAC. I've called for APAC to be registered under FARA. I've introduced amendments to defund all of our American tax dollars from going to Israel every single year, billions and billions of dollars every single year. But I've also done that for a slew of other countries. It's not just Israel.
See, this doesn't matter. This happened to Ron Paul. I remember I did a video years ago where Ron Paul, he was a libertarian. He thought we shouldn't give any foreign aid to any country. And so he made that statement, and someone's like David Horowitz or something. Oh, Ron Paul's a vicious anti-Semite, and it's like Ron Paul's. Well, what do you mean? I'm just cutting off all aid to all countries. I'm not picking on Israel. Oh, why must we suffer so? It's just incredible.
It's a whole bunch of other countries, Egypt, Ukraine, you name it. I'm just like, enough of the foreign aid. But if you're willing to step out and you're actually to say, hey, we're not MAGA, we're MAGA, and there's a major difference there, then there is a group of people that come at you with everything they have, and that's what they're doing. They've got bots attached to my account that load my comment sections with ridiculous lies. They've got paid social media influencers that literally get paid by Israel or by Israel-aligned donors to attack me constantly every single day. But let me tell you something, Tucker. People are too smart nowadays, and that's what's great. People have had it, and I think they learned a lot of lessons through COVID. They learned how to see through the lies and read through the propaganda. And there may be this like little flurry of attack on me that exists on X, but out in the real world, that's not what I feel. And those are not the comments that I get.
I think this is it's a generational thing, supporting Israel. This is more of a boomer Christian Zionist thing. And there are some younger people that are Christian Zionists, but that's really fading away because younger people in general don't go to church as much. And a lot of the younger people that are going back to the church, they're going back to more Orthodox or Catholic or Protestant denominations that teach the gospel of Jesus Christ, that salvation is through Jesus Christ, not through Israel. And so I think there's been a big change in space here. In the left, they don't really care for Israel because of Israel doing their genocide in Palestine. They see that as white people, eliminating brown people. So I think there's a lot of issues right there. And Tucker Carlson's been attacked a lot because he's decided to speak up on this issue too. And like Ted Cruz is a senator that, again, is Israel first. He gets paid a lot from Israeli-backed money. He's owned by them. And let's just take a look at this here.
Who's a big MAGA guy. Ted Cruz was a sitting senator from Texas for the entire Biden administration, where they sent over 12 million people into his state illegally over the border. Now, if Ted Cruz had held like a press conference every week and said to the governor of his state, Greg Abbott, I'm the senator from Texas, our state's being invaded.
Well, this is a weird thing, is the senators from our states, like Tom Cotton, Arkansas, they don't really care about the state they're supposed to represent. This is how our democracy is broken. And this is why I'm not a big fan of democracy. They get paid off by other interests. So if they're being paid off by AIPAC, their first loyalty is going to be to Israel, not the state that they supposedly represent. They don't care about the state they represent at all.
Entry point for the country. This is destroying Texas and America. Mobilize the National Guard today and seal that border. And if that precipitates a conflict with the federal government, so be it. This is illegal, it's immoral, and it's going to wreck this country. National Guard exists for a reason. Use it now. If he'd done that, that would have happened. But he didn't, because he was busy serving his masters in another country, which is not our country. And that is true not just of Ted Cruz, who's the most kind of pathetic, craven example, but of so many Republican politicians. They didn't want closed borders because their donors didn't want closed borders.
Right. And he means Israeli donors. And again, if there was a notion that Israel should have open borders and take a bunch of Muslims or other people, Africans, Ted Cruz and Tom Cotton, they'd be screaming. They would demand that we send in the military to protect Israel's borders. But they don't give a shit really about our borders. Or it's a secondary point. And the same here with Mark Levine. And of course, this guy is he's a Republican because only as it supports Israel, that's all he cares about. Makes sense. At least with Mark Levine, this is his ethnic homeland. So let's take a look at what Mark Levine has to say here.
People who work for Trump hate Trump, and some of them said it out loud. Here's one of Trump's new best friends back in 2016 explaining how much he hates Donald Trump.
I will not be voting for Donald Trump, and he can thank Roger Stone. And if they piss me off one more time, I'm going to urge millions and millions of you not to vote for him either.
Why were they so mad at Trump? That was a few weeks after Trump announced at that primary debate in South Carolina that the Iraq War was a mistake. Whoa, that was too far. Because any politician who will acknowledge that the Iraq War was a mistake probably won't get on board with the future Iraq War. And that's all they cared about.
Right. Because they're worried that because the Iraq war was mostly pushed by Israel. Because if you remember, Saddam Hussein didn't have anything to do with 9/11, but they saw it. Iraq was an enemy of Israel, or Israel didn't like Saddam Hussein, and they had a plan to get rid of Iraq, overthrow Assad, and then fight with Iran. And they've been going down that path. And so these people, they said, "Oh, we're the true MAGA." No, they're not. And what's frustrating about Trump, he tends to back people that treat him horribly. It's really weird with Trump. People that fight for Trump are loyal to Trump. Trump just throws them under the bus. But people that treat Trump like shit, Trump will do everything he can to kiss their ass. And that's something I've noticed about Trump. And it's frustrating, but that's the way it is. All right, let's see what else is going on here. We'll get into this Russia thing, a Ukraine thing. And Trump's been all over the map on this. And it's just going to be decided on the battlefield. Trump decided he canceled the Budapest summit. And here we go. So let me get this right. You gave permission for the long range strikes into Bryansk. So the Ukraine using, I think, the British missiles, but they had to get intelligent data from the United States, technically because the GPS doesn't work in Russia, and it requires proprietary targeting from the United States. So the United States was involved in this missile strike on Russia. It's really an act of war. I mean, imagine if Russia was firing missiles into the United States. You canceled a possible with Putin asking for a ceasefire that you had already agreed was not the way forward. And again, in Alaska, Trump met with Putin and he said, "Yeah, Putin, I agree with you. We shouldn't have a ceasefire until we get the. We don't need a ceasefire now. We need to solve the issue." Because Russia doesn't want a ceasefire because they're winning and they don't want to stop and let Ukraine rearm. So Trump agreed with that back in August. And then for whatever reason, he never explained the reason. Now he's wanting a ceasefire again. And again, he never went back to Russia. He never told the American public why he flip-flopped on this position. And so, and then he added sanctions onto China and India. Basically, what he did, he sanctioned some oil companies in Russia, but these oil companies, they don't sell oil anyway to Europe or the United States. It's primarily to India and China. China's already said they don't care. They're still going to, they don't care if there's sanctions or not. They're going to buy the oil. India, it's hard to read. They are trying to do their usual, they'll say one thing and do another, who knows, India, right? So, but again, so Trump is basically taking ownership of this war, which is stupid because right now the Donbass is falling to Russia. Russia's taking it. And Trump could have walked away so easily from this war. That's what he talked about before he was elected. Instead, now he's embroiled with this. We were talking about giving Ukraine Tomahawk missiles. I guess he backed off on that. And now he's providing targeting data to Ukraine intelligence so they can fire missiles in. He's adding more sanctions, which could increase the cost of our gasoline. It's just a mess. So that's where we are in Russia. All right, let's see here. A couple of woke stuff we'll go over. And I showed this yesterday. The British, they're showing the white man in a business suit, don't harass these poor women on trains. Well, in Australia, here's another one. Invading her space isn't friendly, it's harassment. And they show an older middle-aged white guy harassing some black woman. Like this, if you talk to pretty much any woman that's been traveling, I've read people on X, I've talked to people in real life, almost 100% when they're harassed in public, it's by a non-white guy. But they have to invert this, right? So they have to have it, instead of a black guy or a Muslim hassling a white woman, which is the norm. They have to invert it. That left always inverts. They have a white guy harassing some black woman, like a white guy would even want to do that. But yeah, so the propaganda continues on. This isn't a mistake. This is what they want to do to try to demoralize us. There are some good news. There's been some pushback against this whole trans thing. And this young lady, she's been banned to swim with the other ladies. This lady right here. Yeah. Hannah, this sweet young fair maiden named Hannah, she is not allowed to swim because she won't take a sex verification screening to prove that she's really a woman. So poor Hannah here is not going to be able to swim with the other girls. Hannah was a really good swimmer. She always beat the other girls. We've got to sit through such a crazy time of denial of reality, and this is just where we are right now. It's just insane. All right, we have some other good news when it comes to immigration. Japan has a new prime minister. She's female. That's unfortunate. But the good thing is she looks pretty strong against immigrants in Japan. And Japan's new prime minister says she prefers to let the population shrink. And that's okay. I mean, Japan's a crowded island. It was always like too crowded, rather than bringing in waves of low-skilled immigrants to offset the decline, because the preservation of Japanese society matters more than cheap labor. That's 100%. It's not all about economics. And this is our home. It's our culture, our language, our religion, our people. That's what matters. That's what a nation is. And the idea that, oh, well, if we improve the GDP, it's worth destroying our homeland. No, it isn't. And even if that was true, but we've seen the data, and I showed in my video yesterday, bringing in these third world immigrants does not improve the gross domestic product. In fact, they are a drain on our economy. They take more welfare. They're involved in more crimes. They're not an added benefit. So they don't help with the economy, and they destroy our homeland. And of course, that's the purpose. That's why people are bringing them into our country, is to destroy our homeland. And so I am glad that we're seeing a little pushback on that. And that's a good thing. All right. The last story that broke today, we'll go over, is the NBA, the National Basketball Association. And there was a cheating allegation. The FBI, they actually did a raid because some of the players and a coach were involved with throwing games intentionally in order, for gamblers. So gamblers pay these guys to throw games. And here's one of the guys that's accused. This pass. Look at this pass. This is a guy accused. I would say the black guy. I think they're almost all black. But number 2, look at this pass.
Rozier turned it over again. Having a tough night.
He's throwing it. And here's Rozier. That's his name. Here he is on purpose missing. Oh, look at that pass to the other guy. Just perfect.
Turn it over. Turn it up. But you don't want to play with your team, especially against the Miami. I can tell you, hey, you don't like playing in Miami? Lock down to 3. They got to get busy. Rozier with a 9-1-1 comes up short. On Merrill. Rozier, a contested 3 is short. The ultimate teammates and sacrifice so much. Rozier on the show and go. That all year. Empty corner 2-man game. Rozier with a 3. Anderson with a rebound. Rozier relocates for another try. Well, that was awfully shitty.
So there was a lot of suspicion of his play, that he was intentionally throwing games. And it looks like they have evidence that he may have actually thrown games to lose on purpose because he's being paid off. So The NBA has a lot of problems. I mean, the games I think are fairly rigged anyway by the refs, but this is going to be another blow to basketball. I don't watch basketball a lot. It doesn't really appeal to me. I do like Jokic with the Denver Nuggets. He's a big, tall, white guy, but in general, basketball, it just seems like the refs really rig a lot of the games. And now it looks like we have players that are throwing games. So yeah, it's not an interesting sport. So guys, thank you for being here today. And tomorrow I'll be doing my update for my Substack subscribers. So if I don't see you, you guys have a great weekend. Bye-bye.